friends, and welcome to another video. Today I'm in my makeshift new greenhouse again, and I am about to sow some seeds, but I figure I will just come and talk about something which I think everybody's concerned about in their garden. And this thing is pests, insects, worms, slugs that just come into the garden and try to desecrate our plants and just chew them up and just eat them. And that's very frustrating for any home gardener or any gardener as a whole. So today I want to tell you guys how I protect my garden from pests. I'm going to share 3 things with you all, and I hope that these things are helpful to you all because these things work for me and it helps me to get rid of pests. My number one pest here is some little like cabbage worms, and they eat my brassicas and my kale. So the first year I planted in the market garden, the big garden on the other side. I didn't have any problem with that, but one of the problems I had in that garden was some beetles. So I had like some potato beetles that come and just desecrate my potato. And then last year I had cabbage worms, which was the worst because I hardly get any cabbage last year. The year before I got beautiful cabbage because I took care of those pests early in the season. But last year I said, oh, I didn't do it. So anyways, so this year I'm just gonna continue my method because I know it works. So the first thing I do is I utilize my chickens. My chickens are the number one thing that I use to get rid of pests in my garden on this homestead here. At my other place that I lived in semi-suburbia, I use different method like with neem oil and different stuff to get rid of pests in my garden, but I didn't really have lots of pests over there, so I really can't complain too much. But here I use my chickens and they have been awesome. The only thing about them is, guys, they dig up the beds. They scatter soil every single way, and so you have to put more soil after they're finished with your garden or your greenhouse. And they did a disaster in my greenhouse. They digged up all the pots, so a lot of my perennial, they dug it up, so I don't know if the perennials are gonna come back in some of the pots. But what they're doing is they're eating the insects and the soft-bodied insects. They're eating the bugs, they're eating worms and stuff that is in your soil because they have really good eyes and they can see those things that you cannot see. And of course they eat some of the little nematodes and little things like that that's there. You know, well, you gain some, you lose some. They're not eating everything, just the little bugs and things that are crawling and they can see them, they eat that. Okay, but they do an awesome job getting rid of those pests, especially slugs. Slugs are my nightmare. Last year I had so much slugs in my market garden and they just chewed up my cabbage. You know, just disgusting. I hate slugs. Okay, I'm sorry guys, I'm a gardener, but I don't like slugs. But anyways, so that's what I did, and the chickens had a feast over there. My garden is all dug up. I don't mind. I'm just gonna add some more soil over it and it's gonna be fine. But I know those little slugs are, you know, their population has decreased. And then I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna add some more slug control. So that's the first thing that I did. The second thing that I did was, now that the chickens are done in the greenhouse and in the market garden, now I put them back in their pen, because if you leave your chickens out, yeah, they'll continue to scratch, they'll continue to kill bugs and insects and soft-bodied insects for you, but they'll desecrate your garden. And I learned that the hard way, because a week ago, some chickens escaped and they went into the greenhouse and they almost desecrated my onions and all my stuff that I already planted in there. So I can't have the chickens out. They're completely fenced in for now as of 1 week. And in the next week, we're going to move them to another area on the property and fence them in there and move them to different areas of the property so they can kill bugs and stuff there, for us. So that's what it is. Now, the second thing that I do is treat my beds. So the beds that are in the greenhouse, I treat them with neem oil, fermented garlic, cayenne pepper, and water, and I mix that up together, and I put a tiny bit of soap in it, but I use my own soap that I make. So I make an all natural soap for my family. And because I make that soap and I know my soap is just made from coconut oil, I'm not really worried that the soap is going to be bad for the soil. So that's why I don't use like dish soap or anything like that. I would recommend that you use some kind of, I know you can buy a camping soap. This soap is specially made for the environment, and you can use the soap to wash dishes, like if you're washing things in streams and stuff like that. These are all natural soaps. It's similar to like Dr. Bronner's or something soap. So I dare not use this soap because I don't want to destroy the microbes in my soil and the microorganisms that are there. Even though most people say that the soap is fine, I'm not taking any chances because I need that mycorrhizal, microflora in my soil. I don't want to kill it. So take no chances. I'm not using dish soap. I'm going to put a link in the bottom for you guys with the recipe. And I've never seen anybody use cayenne pepper in theirs, but I've been using cayenne pepper for many, many years since I started gardening. When I was living in my suburban area, I used cayenne pepper and I never had any problems with pests in my garden. And squirrels stay away from my garden. They hate cayenne pepper. So I'll just sprinkle cayenne pepper all over my garden, and then I'll make a spray with the garlic and sprinkle cayenne pepper, and I never had any issues. And that was that. The year that I didn't use any of that in my garden, I had one problem. I had like, I don't know, I think it's like a worm that attacked my squashes. And then once I sprayed the pot and everything like that, I didn't have any problem anymore. But cayenne pepper really worked. That's my magic ingredient when I make this amazing organic spray. So, and then the third thing that I do is I go through my beds and I do a tiny bit of digging in the bed to see what is in the bed. I like to do that. Like last week I went and I dig up some of the beds to see what's in the bed, and I saw some like beetles in there, and I said to myself, okay, there's beetles in that bed need to be treated. I know many of you like to do the no dig method, but if you know you have pests in your area, like you have beetles, you have a lot of soft-bodied insects that are in your soil, sometimes it's just good to dig up a little bit around the bed to see if they're going to crawl out, and then you know what you have. Last week I even saw some slugs, and I'm like, okay, I got slugs, I gotta treat the bed. Because if you want to know you have slugs, all you have to do is just put like a wet piece of board or put a piece of cardboard over your bed, and then you're just gonna see slugs underneath it. So that just tells you, even before you plant your crops, that you have slugs already in the bed. That would give you a chance to use some kind of DIY homemade natural pesticide to get rid of the slugs that are in your bed or in your raised bed or anything like that. That's a good way to know if you have slugs before you start planting your brassicas and stuff like that. So yeah, guys, so this is my tips that I have for you guys today. I hope that was helpful to you guys. I hope that was helpful for any new beginner gardeners. And even if you're not a beginner gardener and you want to try any of those methods, I think like they really work. If you don't have chicken, of course you can't use the method for chickens, but you can use other methods that I mentioned, and it works. I mean, it's not gonna be like 100% everything is gonna be perfect, but if you continue doing that, you will definitely eliminate a lot of the pests. One last point I didn't mention was covering your crops when you plant them. So because I know that I have slugs and I have like cabbage worms. I cover my crops from since I plant them from seed. And that's something that many people may be not paying attention to. You have to cover your crops, the baby seedlings, when they are just tiny seedlings when they're coming up. And I'm going to show you guys a bed that I have right here. So right here I have a bed and I have lots of greens and stuff growing in there. And as you can see, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 different variety of things growing in there. And I put the netting over it. Yeah, the netting is already on it because I do not want any soft-bodied insects or bugs or worms to get in that bed and start desecrating my veggies. So that's a good way. And if you cover it from now, it tricks them and so they don't go there. So this set of crops is protected. Once they're bigger, they are more stronger and they can now hold their own. They are more susceptible to diseases and pests, and so they will not be affected as much and you will not lose your beautiful harvest. So that's another way how you can protect your crops from those nasty bugs. That's another way you can protect your crop from pests and bugs. So yes guys, that's the video for today. I hope this video was helpful. Thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao ciao.